What about Ellie? I cannot hear you.
Hello.
Ellie, I can see you.
Hi, Jiza. How are you?
Hi. But we can't hear Ike.
Oh, we can't. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Hi, Ike. Oh, it's not working for you. Okay. Maybe we take over the show today then. You just listen. Sit back and listen. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for joining today. Unfortunately, Ike's having some technical problems, so we just take over. That's what we do. This is Jiza. Do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Chiza Irechuku, and Ike is my first cousin, my closest male cousin, my Dauda, the sexy guy. Okay, I'm going to try to behave myself. So, I'm a mom, I'm a professional working woman, I'm a business owner, and I'm a sister in law, mother in law, sister, friend, cousin, all of that. And today we're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about balancing work and life and all of that. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm not coming from a standpoint of an expert. I'm not a psychologist. Neither am I a relationship guru. I'm just a human. So it's going to be from a human standpoint. Whatever I'm going to talk about is stuff that has worked for me in my life. And, I can only speak from that perspective. So happy to be here. And I hope this is going to be 30 minutes of a really good show.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Ike, we cannot hear your sexy voice, but hey, it's
Thanks,
okay.
Chisel. It's really good to have you on the show today. I'm Ellie Okafor. I'm in the UK. I'm here to support Ike today, one of the guests. So sit back and watch. Okay. One of the topics that Ike mentioned today was around relationships, family relationships. So we just want to talk about relationships. What does relationship mean to you? What does family mean to you? So Chizo, I know we're going to be working week time. We've got 24 minutes, so we're really going to just breeze through this, but we just want to cover as much as we can. What does family mean to you? What is a healthy family for you?
Okay. So
In
family
2
means
minutes, if you don't mind. Yeah.
family means everything. Family is everything because when the chips are down, you have your family to depend on. And if you have a very strong family foundation, you have no fear of anything. And I believe that you have to nurture your family, the relationships in your family, you have to nurture it. You cannot disregard your family relationship because your friends may not be here when you have a problem, but your family definitely, is going to have your back. Now, I'm not saying that your friends don't have your back, but if you have a strong family foundation, every other thing in your life, every other challenge is really lighter.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Chizo. That's good. So another question around is there's some families, and this from what you talked about, your family sounds like a very healthy family. There are families that can't say what you just said. So, what would you say about families who are having challenges as well? Because there are some families they wouldn't have your back. And what would you do about that?
Okay, so again, I've never been in that, I have never been in that situation. And I think that the dynamic, when you have a family that's broken, it's due to different things. It could be the way they were raised by their parents. It could be the dynamic, what the parents instilled in the kids. Because a lot of times when you look at people, they take that brokenness into their relationship, into their marriages. So if they do not come from a healthy family, they take that into their marriages. So again, it starts from your foundation. What did your parents teach you that family should look like? And you have to be selfless. You cannot be selfish if you're in a family. You have to be selfless. You have to have love for your family. It has to be unconditional. There has to be mutual respect. Because again, your parents could feel, okay, I'm your parent, I can treat you anyway, I can tell you whatever. No. The parent has to respect the child, and the child has to respect the parent as well. And then, of course, there has to be communication. You have to communicate within your family, whether you're communicating with your siblings or you're communicating with your parents or whatever. Um, like I'm talking about where you came from before we even talk about your marriage. So you have to be able to communicate with your siblings. If they did something you didn't like, you have to be honest with them and say, hey, I don't like that. Everybody should respect each one. And then you have to be honest. You have to be really honest about your feelings about things, and your feelings need to be respected. And then talk about humility. You have to be humble. So, regardless of what you've achieved in life, you have to be humble with it. Don't act like you're better than anyone else in your family, because, of course, then you have ill feelings. That's when ill feelings come, jealousy, and all that comes into play. So, again, these are
Thanks,
things that can fracture.
thanks a lot for that, Chizo. On the back of what you just said as well, on the back of what you just said, can you hear me? Yeah. On the back of what you just said as well, when it comes to family, there are some families who can't say what you just said, that they're happy with the families. But then you look at the background, which you just said on the back of what you just said. How did your family start off? So what I would suggest today is if you've got a piece of paper, just write down what was my childhood like? That's the easiest way for you to identify your family upbringing. And when you look at your family upbringing, it's time for you to reflect. And then you then know, what is it that my parents instilled in me that I liked? And what is it that instilled in me that I do not like? It's time for you, during the reflection, go through everything, unpack everything, and then take the ones that you want. The ones that are not good for you, don't pack them. Because when we were children, when we're growing up, our parents give us everything. And as a child, what do you know what we do? We just swallow, swallow, swallow. We don't have time to chew it. We just swallow. So, but you grow older, you don't go back and reflect. Throw it all out, take it back in, who the ones that are good for you, the ones that are not good for you, you dump it. Now, those of us that are in the UK or different parts of the world, there's some African cultures that parents instill to us. And one of them, for example, if you're from the African ethnicity or something like that, you would know they say you never talk. Don't talk back to your parents. Don't speak. Now, if you don't speak as a child, at what point do you speak as an adult? So what you're doing as an adult, you start to retroflect. So if you're in a relationship, you won't be speaking. If someone upsets you, you won't be talking. You just keep quiet because you've learned not to speak. And as an adult, as a child, you might not speak. Like kids, sometimes they say kids forget things very easily. So the child might not speak 2 minutes, they've gone away and they've forgotten it. But an adult who is not speaking has not forgotten it. All they're doing at that point, they're retrospecting. They're just taking the anger inwards. Sometimes we talk about self-harm. What is self-harm? People think self-harm is when you take a knife and you cut yourself. No. If you are not speaking and you're storing everything inside, that's retroflexion, and that is self-harm. So you're harming yourself. So on the back of what Jesus said, please, we need to learn how to speak up. So one of the cultures, if you're from an African heritage, dump if you have, and if you haven't, retroflect. Dump what you don't need. Don't speak up needs to be put in the bin. She just said it. Respect the child, and the child will respect you. Thanks a lot for that, Chisel. I don't know if our audience have any questions. It'll be good to get questions from the audience rather than us just speaking from our own views, so we can then tackle exactly what they're asking for, because they've come for here for a reason as well. Any questions? I don't know how IQ moderates the questions. All right. Okay. When the questions come in, if you see, I'll look at have a look. Okay. All right. Whilst we're waiting for questions, another thing that we wanted to talk about is around parenting. In today's world, what is parenting?
Oh, is this my question?
It's a question for you. Just a simple question while we wait for people to get some questions in. I like to work with questions today. What does parenting mean to you?
Parenting is, I always tell people who care to listen, being a parent is the most difficult and at the same time the most gratifying thing that you can be. Difficult but gratifying. It's difficult because it takes effort, patience, a lot of love to parent a child. And gratifying is when those things that you've put in your child blossoms into success, then you're gratified that you've done a good job. So how do you parent a child? Like Ellie had said, growing up, we were raised to respect our parents. Don't speak when they're speaking until, in my family, we could speak. I was raised differently. We could express ourselves respectfully. You're not going to be yelling and carrying on. You're going to respect yourself respectfully. So parenting means what? Loving your child even when they are messing up. Also speaking positivity into your child. So your child may be driving you crazy, maybe making wrong choices, but you have to love them through the wrong choices and speak positively into their lives, because the things that you say actually manifest. So if a child is going the wrong way and you keep saying, "Oh, you're useless," and you're that, they're going to be useless because you're saying it, and it's going to manifest. So you have to be careful what you say to your children. Again, you have highs and lows when you're parenting. Sometimes your kids do things that are wonderful and you're proud of them, and sometimes they make those wrong choices. But you always pray that whatever choice they make is not a choice that's going to take a lifetime to correct.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. That's amazing. That's fantastic. That's really good. And on the back of what you said as well, in parenting, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Like you said, patience is really important. And one of the things I do as a parent is to be a friend to your child. I know sometimes people think, how can you be a friend to your child? You can be a friend to your child. What relationship do you have with your child? Can your child come to you? Can your child speak to you? Can your child trust you? Some children speak to their parents, they don't trust them. I've got a 19-year-old. He tells me at least 90% of his life I know. Things that I don't want to hear, but I have to hear. And the benefit of that is that it helps me sit and feel what he's feeling and be in his world, and then work like a 19-year-old and advise him from where I am as an adult who's gone through 19 to where he is, or who's gone from 19 to where I am right now. So is that relationship, have an open communication. There's some things your child is going to tell you. Don't keep quiet. If they don't hear it from you, where else will they hear that from? That's one of the things we need to really take note of. If there's nothing we can take away today, please make sure that communication channel is open, which is why I said, dump some of the things the African culture has taught some of us. Like Jesus said, we are lucky we had parents who were able to allow us to communicate. But I'm saying, on the whole, as a culture, that's one of the things that a lot of people have adopted over time. Another thing we want to talk about is around healing in relationships. Now, we've talked about an ideal relationship where everything works. There are some broken relationships. The parent has come from a good home, what you may call a good home, and that's all is relative. They have come from a place where they've got the background, the parents taught them well, or gave them everything, gave them love, but they got into a relationship and everything is broken, but they're not shattered. How do you deal with those relationships? What do you impact into the life of those children? Because don't forget now, this is a next generation. She's come from a platform of peace and love, bringing it into the next relationship, into the next level of our relationship, which is her marriage. But everything becomes broken. But the reason she might be here today is that because she's not shattered. What do you do to support that person, Chisel?
Okay. Okay. So, what do you do to support somebody whose relationship has been broken and that person is not shattered? Well, a lot of times, most of the people who have come out of a broken relationship actually come out shattered. It's very hard for them to pick up the pieces. How do you even get into a broken relationship? Number one, you have to know your self worth because I believe that, yes, you give your kids a strong foundation, give them a sense of self, make sure they have a self confidence because you attract what you are, and they have to have standards. You have to have standards of who you want as a partner. You have to have things that you will not tolerate and then things that you can live with. A lot of times we get involved in relationships and we know that this person doesn't have everything that we're looking for. They don't meet the standards and we see the problem, but we still go into it because we have that savior complex that we can save them. We can change them. No, you cannot. It's only God or that person that can change themselves. So if you see something that you do not like, that's a red flag. Get out. There's better for you elsewhere. That's number one. Number two, if somebody is not treating you, if somebody treats you like you're ordinary, then that person is not for you. So never let anyone who treats you like you're ordinary into your life as somebody you love. You need to be treated as that special person that you are. So when you get into these relationships and eventually this person is not who you thought they were or you knew they were not, and you're trying to fix them and you cannot, and everything goes awry, we always pray that you're not broken to the extent that you cannot pick up the pieces. And that is where your family comes into play. Because a lot of times, people in families, when you're telling them that this person may not be right for you, they will tell you, oh, I'm the one in the relationship. I know what I'm doing. The reason why you want to carry every member of your family along is when things happen in your relationship and your relationship falls apart, your family is going to be your backbone. They're going to be your support system. So if a relationship is broken, then you need your family to come in and play the role of building you back up into a whole person. So again, we always see the signs. So you cannot sit back and say, oh no, yes, you knew. You saw the signs, but I don't know what you were thinking. Maybe you could change them. But again, you cannot change somebody who's grown. And you need your family to help bring you back whole.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that, Chisa. That's really amazing. I don't know if we've got any chats. I can't see any chats.
We do? I can't see any chats.
I think because we haven't got the we're not the moderator, so maybe we haven't got that. I think what we can do, let's be a bit more creative about this. I don't want to miss out. People are sitting here waiting for questions to be answered. If you can ping me some of the questions, would that be helpful? Or
yes.
I'll just take a snapshot.
Yep.
And then whilst we're looking, we can look at them. Apologies, we don't get through all of them within the short time left because of the technical hitch that we're facing or having at the moment. Okay, so thanks a lot for that, Chisa. And there's something she really said that's very profound. My daughter said something today to me. She said, the only you can choose. The way she said it, she said, I woke up this morning and read something to me, but I'm just going to paraphrase it. She said, you can choose your, how did you say it, Richie? Can you remind me, please? She said, you can choose your family. You can choose
your family, so choose your husband wisely.
Yeah. So yes, she said, you
can't choose your family, choose your husband wisely.
Yeah, the only person you can choose. Your husband is the only person. You can't choose your family.
Yes.
But choose your husband wisely.
Yep.
So what they're trying to say here is, I can't choose my siblings. I can't choose my cousins. I can't choose. But the only person I can choose and bring into my family is your partner, either a wife or a husband. So your partner is the only one you can choose and bring into your family. So what they said was, choose that person wisely. And that was quite an amazing one. I never heard of that before. That was my good morning this morning. So that's an amazing one. Okay, so if you get any, let's have a look at questions, please, just so we can use. We do have a few questions. Okay, someone said, totally agree. Not all things are thoughts, some things are thoughts. That's correct. Someone says they completely agree. You can be a friend to your child. Someone says, when you say family is everything, what does that imply? And how does that contradict today's family setting? So that's a good question. When you say family is everything, what does that imply? And how does that contradict today's family setting? So are we saying the different types of family? I'm not quite clear. I'd have loved to have more information on this. Mm-hmm. Are you saying the different types of family? Or, family is everything. How does that? I'm not quite clear. If the person can write a little bit more, that would be much easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are other questions, Ike. Okay. I'll just wait. Sorry about this. When we depend on technology, sometimes it does fail. Okay. So whilst we're talking about, I'll wait for that, but then wait for the next few questions. Apologies if I haven't not been able to answer the question because it wasn't very clear to me, the last one. I can't see any other ones again until he says more. But just on the back of what Chisa said as well, when it comes to healing in a relationship, so let's assume we've made the wrong choice. We do make choices. There's something that Chisa said. She said, if your child makes a mistake, let it be a mistake that he can correct. So let's assume we've made a wrong choice. And we do make choices. When we're younger, we make choices. And then with time and age, you look back and think, I shouldn't have married this person. It was a wrong choice. But you're already in that relationship. So what do you do? So what do you do in that relationship? That's the question. How do you then heal if you're in a relationship that's a very difficult one? What would you do to make that relationship work? I think one of the key things is forgiveness.
I can hear Ellie. Ike.
Okay.
I can hear Ellie.
One of the
Your laptop has issues.
It's broken, but it's not shattered.
It's broken, bro.
We can see the face, we can see the moves.
It's broken.
But he can't hear us, so it's broken, right?
It's broken. Gauges. Let me stop.
That's a good one. So in that case, because we're looking at time now, in that case, when the relationship is broken, what do we do to fix it? It's forgiveness. Forgiveness is key. Without forgiveness, you can't move on. The person who's offended can't move on. The person who you offended cannot move on. So forgiveness is key. And I'm not going to sit in this place and say, this is how you are meant to forgive someone. That would be absolutely incorrect. Because I'm not in the situation that you've been through, and I've not gone down that path. But what I can suggest here is think about forgiveness. And what does forgiveness mean to you? Does it mean letting go? Does it mean going back to have a relationship? Whatever it means to you, think of forgiveness. And one of the benefits, somebody might say, why do I have to? Because you don't really understand what he or she has done to you. If you've got children, how are you going to model or show your children forgiveness amongst themselves if they've got siblings? How are you going to show that? So one of the ways you're going to show forgiveness to your children is by them seeing it happen somewhere along the line.
Okay. So somebody asked a question. Somebody asked a question. Very good question. She said, sometimes the family contribute to problems in marriages. Who do you turn to? I have an answer to that. First and foremost, when they say that the woman is going to leave her family and then cleave to a man and they become one, however they say it in the Bible. Okay. So when you get married, you and your husband become a unit. You have to make a vow to protect your peace. Okay? So protect your peace means protecting the peace of your union between both of you. So anything outside of both of you that does not protect that peace, you're going to have to, if you have to ghost them, you're going to have to ghost them. I'm sure everybody knows what I mean by ghosting. Be it friends. Okay, you don't know what ghosting is. Ghosting is you just disappear in their lives. You just kind of, they do poof, like a ghost. So again, you have to protect your peace. And that means anything that's external out of your marriage, you do not allow that to infiltrate into your marriage and cause problems. And when they begin to start causing problems, you're going to treat them as an external unit, regardless of if it's your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister. You're going to treat them as an external unit outside of your immediate unit. That's how you're going to have to handle that. That's the only way you can have peace in your marriage, by dealing with those units as external to your marriage. So you have to protect your peace any way that you can. I hope I've been able to answer the question. I don't want to delve too intimate into that, but again, there's so many dynamics with this family situation. Some people don't get along with their mother-in-laws. Some people don't get along with their sister-in-laws. There's just a lot of dynamic. But I really, at the end of the day, we need to be able to love ourselves so we can love one another. Okay? you have to be able to show somebody love. And I know that in Africa, it's like you cannot have a good relationship with your mother-in-law. It's like that is a yardstick for a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. But it shouldn't be that way. That woman gave birth to your husband. No matter how bad she is, if you come from a place of love, a lot of times, you who's coming from a place of love, you're vindicated in any situation. So I think that we need to have love in ourselves and then show love to people around us, especially those family members that are, just trying to cause problems. Again, protect your peace.
Thanks a lot, Chisel. 2 more minutes.
Ikedi, any questions?
You should type a question.
We're supposed to talk about work-life balance, right? Oh, 2 minutes. Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Chisel.
Yes. Work-life balance.
Just one word, one word for parents out there who are working, trying to take care of the children, juggling the family. Just one word for them.
Persevere. Persevere.
Thank you. I like that. And I have one word for them. Self-care. Take care of yourself.